1. A general manager designing a development plan for new team leaders wants to incorporate adult learning theory. Which approach best aligns with this principle? A. Delivering content through mandatory memorization sessions. B. Allowing learners to build on their existing experience through scenario discussions. C. Providing passive lectures with no learner interaction. D. Requiring all learners to complete identical tasks regardless of background. 2. During performance evaluations, a manager wants to ensure fairness and transparency. Which method is the most effective? A. Using unclear standards, so employees focus on improvement. B. Conducting evaluations based solely on general impressions. C. Applying consistent behavior-based criteria for all employees. D. Comparing employees to one another to identify the highest performers. 3. When developing curriculum for management training, which component must come first to ensure alignment? A. Selecting which activities seem enjoyable. B. Writing assessments before determining expected outcomes. C. Defining clear performance objectives. D. Choosing a training venue before creating materials. 4. A manager needs to address conflict between two team members. What communication technique is most appropriate? A. Interrupting frequently to maintain authority. Listening actively and summarizing the concerns of both parties. C. Telling both parties the issue is unimportant. D. Advising them to resolve it independently, regardless of severity. 5. A company is updating safety requirements to comply with new regulations. What is the general manager's first responsibility? A. Ignoring the updates unless audited. B. Implementing the changes only for new hires. C. Ensuring all staff understand and follow the updated requirements. D. Delegating full responsibility to a single employee without oversight. 6. A new supervisor lacks confidence in handling team tasks. What mentoring action should the general manager take first? Assigning them to tasks without guidance to build independence. B. Providing structured coaching with clear expectations and support. C. Reducing their responsibilities permanently. D. Advising them to self-study without further involvement. 7. Which evaluation method best measures a trainee's ability to apply procedural knowledge? A. Requiring a written summary only. B. Using a performance-based simulation. C. Administering a general multiple-choice quiz. D. Asking learners to recall definitions verbally. 8. In strategic communication, what is the most important factor when delivering change-related messages? A. Communicating once to save time. B. Using vague explanations to avoid questions. C. Providing clarity about purpose, impact, and expectations. D. Allowing roomers to manage the information flow naturally. 9. A training program shows poor retention rates. What is the most effective corrective action? A. Increasing lecture duration significantly. B. Adding more high-pressure assessments. C. Incorporating interactive and problem-based activities. D. Removing all assessments from the program. 10. A general manager must review compliance documentation. Which practice ensures accuracy? A. Approving reports without verification. B. Relying solely on verbal updates. C. Maintaining detailed, up-to-date records that align with regulations. D. Storing documents informally with no tracking method. 11. When mentoring a high-potential employee, which action best supports long-term development? A. Assigning only simple tasks to ensure consistent success. B. Providing constructive feedback with opportunities to lead projects. C. Avoiding challenging assignments to prevent stress. D. Withholding developmental discussions until the annual review. 12. Which curriculum model ensures alignment between goals, instruction, and assessment? A. Creating instructional materials first and deciding goals later. B. Backward design linking outcomes, assessments, and instruction. C. Allowing trainers to choose any activities they prefer. D. Using only standardized modules with no customization. 13. A manager needs to communicate a sensitive policy change. Which strategy demonstrates professionalism? A. Delivering the message with empathy, clarity, and confidentiality. B. Sharing the change publicly without context. C. Using ambiguous wording to avoid responsibility. D. Ignoring employee questions to end the conversation quickly. 14. To ensure compliance training is effective, what should the manager evaluate first? A. Employee satisfaction with the training venue. B. Whether learners can demonstrate required procedures. C. How entertaining the trainer was. D. Whether employees enjoyed the presentation. 15. A team member repeatedly ignores documented procedures. The most appropriate action is A. Punishing them immediately without discussion. B. Providing corrective coaching based on the established policy. C. Avoiding the issue to maintain a positive environment. D. Allowing others to handle the issue informally. 16. During a major project, communication between departments becomes inconsistent. What should the general manager do? A. Reduce communication to prevent confusion. B. Establish a structured communication plan with clear channels. C. Allow teams to communicate only when necessary. D. Assign communication responsibilities to random employees. 17. In adult learning, what factor most influences motivation? A. Mandatory participation with no explanation. B. Content that is relevant and applicable to real work tasks. C. Activities unrelated to experience to promote creativity. D. Lengthy lectures that emphasize instructor knowledge. 18. What is the primary purpose of formative assessments in a training program? A. To assign final grades only. B. To monitor learning progress and guide improvement. C. To compare learners with one another. To determine if learners qualify for promotion. 19. When crafting a training message for diverse adult learners, the general manager should A. Use identical examples for all learners. B. Consider varying levels of experience and backgrounds. C. Expect all learners to interpret information the same way. D. Deliver training without allowing questions. 20. A new regulation requires immediate documentation updates. Which step is essential? A. Updating documents and verifying alignment with legal standards. B. Waiting until the next annual review cycle. C. Informing employees but leaving documents unchanged. Delegating updates without confirming accuracy. 21. A general manager wants to support continuous improvement. Which action is most effective? A. Requesting feedback only once per year. B. Encouraging ongoing input and acting on constructive suggestions. C. Ignoring feedback unless it involves major issues. D. Assuming processes work unless someone complains. 22. When mentoring staff, what method enhances skill transfer? A. Explaining tasks without demonstration. Providing demonstration, guided practice, and feedback. C. Assigning tasks and expecting independent mastery. D. Relying exclusively on reading materials. 23. Which communication error most commonly leads to operational mistakes? A. Providing clear written instructions. B. Repeating key information when necessary. C. Allowing assumptions instead of verifying understanding. D. Offering clarifications when requested. 24. In curriculum development, which component ensures that teaching activities match intended outcomes? A. Arbitrary activity selection. B. Alignment between learning objectives and instructional strategies. C. Creating assessments before knowing the goals. D. Allowing trainers full freedom with no framework. 25. A general manager must ensure ethical conduct across all operations. Which action fulfills this responsibility? A. Establishing clear standards and enforcing them consistently. B. Ignoring minor violations to focus on major issues. C. Allowing personal judgment to replace policy. D. Addressing concerns only when employees complain. 26. Which type of assessment best evaluates decision making in complex scenarios? A. Recall only questions about terminology. B. Practical simulations requiring applied judgment. C. Short verbal definitions. D. Memorization focused quizzes. 27. To improve communication effectiveness, a manager should prioritize A. Speaking more than listening to maintain authority. B. Ensuring messages are tailored to audience needs. C. Reducing details to avoid questions. D. Using technical language regardless of familiarity. 28. A trainee struggles with a new process. Which coaching approach is most effective? A. Explaining the same instructions repeatedly without adjustment. B. Diagnosing the difficulty and adapting coaching methods accordingly. C. Assigning the task to someone else permanently. D. Criticizing the trainee until performance improves. 29. When planning long-term staff development, the manager should A. Focus solely on immediate performance issues. B. Include opportunities for leadership growth and career progression. C. Exclude employees showing strong performance. D. Avoid providing feedback until the program ends. 30. A regulatory inspection is approaching. The manager should A. Assume compliance without verification. B. Conduct an internal audit to ensure readiness. C. Ignore minor issues that may be identified later. D. Delay preparations until the inspection begins. 31. To promote accountability, a general manager should A. Provide expectations clearly and follow up consistently. B. Avoid confronting mistakes to preserve morale. C. Rely on employees to self-correct without guidance. D. Maintain vague instructions so employees ask more questions.